As always, today's podcast is sponsored by Fire Facilities, makers of reliable, all-American steel fire training structures built the way you train. Fire Facilities towers, burn rooms, and mobile units help you prepare to respond and survive. Welcome back to 3 Point Firefighter. Today's guest is another two-timer on the podcast, Chief Jacob Johnson. Now, Chief Johnson started in the fire service at the ripe old age of 15 in an explorer post. Now, throughout the years, he moved up in the ranks until he changed departments in 2007. So he now works for Pearland Fire, and he was one of the first original full-time members that was hired there. Now, currently, he sits as a member of the administration, serving as the assistant chief. Now, he has taught at numerous schools in Texas, and he's traveled all over the country in the past few years to teach his mentoring and leadership class. I cannot say enough good things about Chief Johnson. He's one of the best. I consider him a friend. He's always there for me, and he's always there for you, too. I hope you enjoy the podcast. Guaranteed you will. With that, Chief Jacob Johnson. I've been working on my other podcast. I got some others coming out, and kept looking at I'm like, damn it. It's not noon yet. We should have scheduled this for like 8:30 in the morning.
Yeah, we should have just been done with it, right? And been able to see each other with a cup of coffee instead. Now I'm having to heat up coffee to drink with you.
See? Well, okay. I see you're wearing one of my new shirts. Now, am I overdoing it when I'm supporting Pearland and you? What do you think about my gear? Is it good?
Yeah, I love it. I think it's probably the best uniform you wear.
Brother, I think so. But you know what? I can make it better. Better. Watch this.
Oh, man. See? Look at you.
Look at this. And I even got a little 3 point, but I made sure to put it below. I was respectful.
Hey, I like it. I like it.
So how you doing, brother? I'm so glad to see you again.
I'm good, man. I'm excellent. How are you?
Doing well. And I think a lot of that has to do with your check-ins weekly. I appreciate it, even more than weekly. I look forward to it. It's I really appreciate everything you've done. So for those who don't know, several months ago, I did me and an HR friend of ours, Christina, we were working on a level 2 academy, leadership academy from scratch. And Chief Johnson and his boss, Chief Taylor, were instrumental in really helping us get it up and off the ground. And then I had a surprise guest with Chief Jacob there. He showed up in that class through Zoom. And also, not to mention just that, but he sent every single person in that class a handwritten note and a very nice swag bag that included all kinds of awesome stuff. And every single one of them really appreciate it. I got a few more to give out because people have been off and all that stuff. But thank you so much for that, brother. You are the absolute best.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I love doing little things like that because, that's what keeps, the passion alive on the job. And that's what really drives home the point that I always make. Brotherhood is not a 24/48 deal or a 48/96 deal. It's 24/7, 365. And no matter where you're at in the world, if you have a brother or sister that's hurting or just needs a pick me up, man, why not you take the time to just do it? It literally takes 2 seconds to send a text message, 10, 20 minutes to make a phone call. And if you're really hitting it off, hell, maybe it goes an hour. That's fine. But, at the end of the day, it's about really being there for each other and making sure that brotherhood stays strong. I really believe that some people use it as just a word and they don't understand that it's an action. Brotherhood is an action. It's not just a word. And we use it way too often and we act on it way too less. And we need to start reversing that. We need to be enacting the brotherhood and showing the brotherhood way more than we ever just speak about it,
Brother, you live it. I mean, I don't know of anybody that I've met in 30 years in the fire service, in any of my travels that now great people and they've all helped, but there's a level that you offer. You're an angel. I've said that you're an angel in the fire service, man. You're like a highway to heaven. You go where you need it and you help fix it, and you stay on top of it and you take on others. I mean, you really do I mean, you live it. I mean, you are brotherhood. If brotherhood personified is Jacob Johnson, without a doubt, without a doubt.
Well, I really appreciate that, but I'd like to be. I'd like to think that most people believe that about me,
Hmm.
the same that you do. But that didn't come without struggles and failures, and it didn't come without points where I might have not have been the best brother, or I might have not have lived it and just spoke about it. And so, it's been a very awesome, 23 year career of learning from mistakes and getting better at what I do, and really trying to hone in on the fact that we need to have action behind our words, and each and everything I do, I promise you, is because I learned it somewhere else, or because I failed at another point in my career. And this is kind of like my penance, like you and I've talked before,
Yeah,
of just making sure that I don't go back to where I used to be or what I used to do. And not that I was a horrific person, but just really honing in on what it means to be a good brother, and have the brotherhood and have the action behind the word, and what it means to really take care of each other and truly be there for each other. So um, you can't be the brother that says I'll pick you up at 2 in the morning, and then when the phone rings, you ignore it or say, "Oh, I'm busy." You got to be the brother
hmm
that says, "Okay, I'll be there," and go pick up your buddy at 2 in the morning. I've been there, I've done that, where my buddy just sent me a picture of the intersection that he was hanging on to in the middle of Midtown, and I drive down at 2:30 in the morning and pick him up and bring him to the couch. So that's what we got to do. That's what we have to be.
absolutely. And I tell you what, it's inspired me to up my game a little bit, because I think the second that you think you've got it all figured out and that you're running at 100%, that's where you start to get complacent. Corley Moore now he hates complacency, right? So he's
Yep.
not wrong. So and whenever you text me, I swear to you, it's at the perfect time. That's why I call you an angel. I'm like, I'm struggling with something. I'm usually at the gym and I'm struggling thinking about something coming up, or issues at work, whatever it is. And I'll get that text, hey, you're gonna have a great day. And I'm like, dude, this is it. This is perfect. Like, I'm looking around for you. I'm like, where is he? Is he hiding? But it has made me as well. I want to try to share that too. I want this to be viral. I want everybody to catch this bug of understanding that brotherhood is an action. It's not just a word, or and it's not a finish line either. You don't ever stop. You're like, okay, I'm the perfect brother now. It's
Yep.
always
No.
something else.
Yeah, I don't think it's anything that'll ever be perfectioned. I don't think it's
Mhm.
anything that anybody will ever be able to master. I think it's just always, you're always in a race to be good at it, and
Right.
to continue to improve. And when I text you those things, it's going to be a great day or whatever. That's really where I find leadership is important. And it's not that I'm trying to be a leader for you or anything like that. It's really trying to be a good brother. But bring that attitude to the firehouse, bring it to the building that you work in. If you're like me and work in admin, bring that there. I walk in every single day to work, and I go to every single office, and I say, "Hey, it's going to be a great day." And I walk off. Like, that's it,
Yeah.
right? It's going to be a great day. And I walk off. And I really feel like, man, if you walk in and you're positive, and you start out every day the same way, like that, hey, it's going to be a great day, then no matter what is thrown at you throughout that day, you started it off good.
Mhm.
And so, yeah, there's times where, hey, it's going to be a great day, and then the day is just slammed with stuff, and you're just like, man, like, today was rough, but it's still a great day, right? You come
Yeah.
in, don't let anybody know you're struggling, right? Like, if you're having issues at home or whatnot, walk through the door and be positive for those people. It's not their fault that you're having issues at home, or it's not their fault that you woke up in a bad mood. Like, it's your job to be in there and be positive, and to start the day off right. You got to set the tone for the day. And so that's, when I text you, or when I text other people, that are close to me like you, it's all about that. Like, let's just start off on the right tone, right? Like, hey, it's going to be a great day. Or if they tell you, yeah, it is, but I'm struggling, I'm doing this, don't say, oh man, I'm praying for you. Like, yeah, I hope you are, but ask them a question. What can I do for you?
Right.
What can I do? How can I help you? And really show them what the brotherhood is about, because 99% of the time they're going to say, nothing, brother, I'm good. But that one chance that they need something, man, at least you offered, and they can tell you what they need, and you can do whatever it can to make it happen. So even my buddies in South Florida, man, if they need something, I have 4 or 5 other buddies in South Florida I can reach out to, say, hey, so and so needs some help, can you please do me a solid and run down there and check on them? Yeah, I got you.
That's
and
a
just little
great
things like
network.
that. Yeah, man, big time.
Hey, hopefully you consider me if you got anybody up in this area that needs help.
Absolutely.
Man, I'd do that. That's a cool little network you got there. You got to come up with a cool name though. It's got
Yeah,
to be
I
so.
don't know what to.
You got to work on it. I don't know what's going to be. Maybe the Jake Barnes Network. I'm just saying. I'm
Oh,
not.
well, hey, man. Yeah, you could say JB Networking. Yep, we
Yeah.
could do that. Hmm.
Well, I think the JJ Angel Network that'll do it.
Oh
Well,
boy. Oof. Oof. You putting me on a pedestal, man.
yeah, I kind of do. Well, you
Yeah.
might deserve it. I ain't gonna lie.
Oh, I
I
doubt that, Jake.
I know, and brother, I get it. You're the last person to brag on yourself. You know, it's just you're that guy. You your views on leadership, on mentorship, on brotherhood. I mean, there's no question where your alliance lies. There's no question where your heart lies. And I'm not going to have you repeat the story. If anybody wants to hear the story that Chief Jacob Johnson, what was more of a catalyst for a change for you,
Mm-hmm.
listen to the my first podcast with him. You've been on multiple podcasts telling that story. It's a great story. But it basically, in a nutshell, is you felt like you felt like you did somebody wrong, and you changed your entire life about it. And not only
That's
did
right.
you do that, you share the message and you do everything you can to improve yourself and other people around you. And I
Mm-hmm.
think that it's viral, man. It's just like that's the bug I want to get.
Right.
I want that COVID JJ. That's what I want. I
That's it.
want to catch that one, brother.
Well, and that's the thing, man, is you cannot allow the failures in your life to define you, you know,
Mm-mm,
and they should shape you, and you should allow them to shape you, and they should be a harsh reminder of where not to go back to, but they shouldn't be the defining moment of you. They should not define you. They should not control your last name or your legacy, right? And the only way that they're going to do that is if you allow it. If you refuse to be open minded, if you refuse to change, if you refuse to see your own failures, then you will be, unequivocally defined by those failures. So it's all about a mindset, right? And I talk about this with my son a lot is, you have to have multiple mindsets throughout life, right? But you got to have one that is consistent, and that is that hard work is the goal, right? If I can put in hard work every day, then I know that I will be successful in whatever I do, right? And so when you're on the football field, yeah, we all want you to work hard, but I need that mindset to flip to where you become a monster,
mm-hmm,
right? I need you to lock in, zone in, be a monster for 4 quarters, sometimes maybe maybe some OT. And then after that, we flip back to just being Luke Johnson. We
mm-hmm.
flip back to being the Johnson last name and being good people. And not that you're not a good person on the football field, but I want you to have that mindset of just nothing's going to stop me, right? And then when you go to work, no matter the job, you don't have to be a firefighter, right? I mean, no matter the job you're in, your mindset should be that I'm going to outwork everybody and that I'm going to reach my goals and I'm going to be a good person while I reach my goals and I'm going to support others through it. And so, keeping those mindsets going is what helps you define yourself, your last name, and your legacy. Nobody's in charge of that. You own that, right? Your legacy, your last name is yours. It's for you. It's yours to rise to the top, and it's yours to kill, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so that's my thing is that we have to have that mindset that nothing's going to stop us and nothing's going to get in our way, and we have to be open minded to change because that's the way we grow. There's a lot out there right now that you know failure is where a leader grows, and failure is this. Absolutely the truth, but it's not just the failure itself that makes you grow. It's the mindset after the failure and the open mindedness to change and the want to change, the willingness to change, the willingness to accept your failure. That's what makes you grow.
Mm-hmm.
It's your mindset that supports that growth. It's not just the failure, right? So how many times have we all failed throughout our life? And we continually fail, and it's not because we can't do it, it's because we refuse to accept our first failure. We refuse to accept the fact that we did something wrong and that we need to
Mm-hmm.
change. And so that's the number one key. That's the first thing to do is I failed, here's how I failed, and here's how I'm going to fix it. And you have to be open-minded to that and fix it.
I could agree more. One of the most liberating things that's ever happened to me is with this podcast, talking to great people that to me, I I think the world of. I've read their books or their articles or whatever, much like you, but I had no idea how much failure went into their success, and it empowered me to really be more self aware. And I could admit, and on this podcast, if you go back and listen, so many times I bring up, yeah, I did that completely wrong. I failed, but it's
Hmm.
so liberating when you can actually acknowledge your failures and share those failures, even publicly. But
Right.
you share them, then I think that gives you more validity to the things you're doing now. Like, why should I listen to you? Well, because I've done what you've done before, and now I'm doing this. I've seen both sides of this same coin. So being able to own up to your mistakes and realizing that mistakes aren't it's part of life. It's no different than walking up and down stairs. It's just what you do.
That's right.
Hiding them from yourself is the worst thing you can do because you get an inflated view of yourself. So
Right.
and like I said, great things can come from it. Like in your instance, I don't think you would ever want to make the mistakes you made to get where you're at. But honestly, it's like, okay, how do I fix this and make sure not only I don't do it again, but others don't do it again. So there's that responsibility, and I think you
Right.
you 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 share that. We talked about it when I was down in Pearland with you about it being your penance, and we were at that I forget that place where you're at out sitting outside, and you were like, yeah, I used to be a jerk to him. And he's like, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. But, he made up, we've apologized. He's fantastic. I love Chief Johnson, and that openness, man. I mean, you want to be a better person after talking to people like that, especially people like you
Hmm.
know. And I'll never forget that he said, "Oh yeah, I made him horribly. I pissed him off bad." He's like, "He sure did, but no, no, it's all good now." But
Yeah.
I mean, how many people actually do that? Now, to be fair, your department is one of my favorite fire departments, and your personnel are amazing, just
Yeah. We have
amazing.
some of the best, man. I love the men and women of the Pearland Fire Department.
And that's Pearland really isn't like dates back to 1800s. Pearland, as it is today, is if you went back 5-10 years, didn't exist like it does today.
Oh,
It
no.
grew big time, didn't it? And you
Yeah, it
had a lot to
grew.
do with
So,
that.
yeah. So, I mean, that's the thing is, the city itself was established in 1894. And it was just real small and it stayed small, right? I mean,
Mhm.
the city really didn't start growing until the 90s. And really, really in the last 16, 17 years did it really start populating. And so it was just a farming town until then. We have some really cool history there. The city used to just be several big family ranches, right, that have all been split up and made over. So, we have roads that exist like the Miller Ranch Road, Smith Ranch Road, Yost or Scarsdale Boulevard. That's the Yost Ranch, the Miller Ranch, the Smith Ranch. Um, we have things like Massey Oaks neighborhood, which Massey was a big family name there, a big ranch. So it was just a really nice farming town for a lot of years. And then when we started there in 2007, that was when we hired all career firefighters. And I was a part of that, right? The original 18 of us. And from there to today, right, we've gone from 20 people in the fire department total, 18 in operations, 2 in admin, to 179
Wow,
in 16 years, right? It'll be 16
wow,
years here in a couple months. So we've really what is that almost quadrupled. I mean we've really grown, and we've gone from 2 firehouses to 6. We sevens just passed in the bond, so we're going to be building sevens. And then we're already looking at run numbers. We're probably going to have to build another couple. We'll probably top out at 9 or 10 firehouses.
wow.
And yeah, and our population has gone from right around 77,000, 79,000 in '07 to about 150 today. So, I mean, it has just grown exponentially, and neighborhoods are still popping up. Businesses are still popping up. We have rooftops coming in left and right. So, I would predict by 2030 we'll be hitting close to that 200,000 citizen mark, and probably 8 firehouses, and we're gonna have to start looking at you know where to go next, and what to do, and do we start doing double company houses? Do we start putting in second battalion chiefs, or do we put in district chiefs and have a battalion with 2 districts? What do we do? How does that look? So there's a lot of exciting times coming, right? And One of the things that I like to tell every new hire class is, look, like, we are a department in its infancy. And so you will never be able to sit around a firehouse and say, hey, in 1920 this firehouse was doing this, or in the 1800s this firehouse was doing this, right? Like, we're not going to have that luxury within our career. But what we are doing is establishing the history right now for others to read in the future when they get hired. So we are writing our own chapter, right, in our own history books, and your last name is on that chapter. It's up to you to fill that chapter. It's either going to be something that is read thoroughly or something that's skipped over, and then
Mm.
decision is yours, right? So in 50 years, when we hire rookies and none of us are here anymore, we're either dead and gone, or retired. What history do you want to be shared about you? And what history do you want to be shared about this fire department? And what did we do to build this fire department and our last name and our legacies for others to talk about at the kitchen table in 50 years? That is our goal right now, because we'll never be able to enjoy it like it's a firehouse is intended to be enjoyed, because they are new and we are an infant department. So what can we do right now to establish that others will enjoy reading in 50 years? That's our job.
Planting seeds in a garden you'll never see grow.
That's
That's
it.
that.
I
That
like
is
that.
it.
I like
Yeah.
that. Look
Well,
at
I
you,
stole
man, on
that
a
from
Sunday morning.
the musical Hamilton. So me and my wife use that reference a lot. You're planting seeds in a garden you'll never see grow. But it is that legacy thing, and that's something I struggle with. Something I never really considered, and now I look at my legacy in the fire service, and there's so many things. I'm like, oh my god, I don't want to be remembered for that. But now I feel like I'm making positive strides, and I feel like I'm making my legacy a little bit better. But at the same time, I wouldn't, if I could go back and erase the bad things in my career, I wouldn't. I absolutely wouldn't. It's part
Right.
of me. It is what it is. But when when you think about it, just like you said, the legacy part. When you think about when you leave, you know, people are going to talk about you. There's three things that's going to happen after you leave the fire service for whatever reason. They're going to talk great about you, which is awesome. They're going to talk terrible about you, which is horrible. And then the worst one is they don't talk about you at all.
That's
You
right.
know,
Mm-hmm.
you were just didn't even know you were there. And I've seen people come and go through the fire service, and there's people I saw when I got into New Albany. There's people that have retired like right about the same time I got there, and I couldn't tell you the first thing about them, and nobody talks about them in the firehouse. I can't even tell them
Mm-hmm.
the name. I can see, remember who was that guy that was bald, had a little bit of hair around, and oh yeah, that's so. And I can't remember. You don't have any stories about them.
Right.
And if you work hard, if you care about the fire service, fire department, and you're trying to implement things and do things, hopefully they're going to, they'll take hold, they'll grow. And then on this leadership class, like I brought up, Christina and I got coffee mugs made that said Class 001, and it
I
served a
love it.
bunch of purposes. Hey, you were the very first one. And then also, hopefully in several years, when I'm gone, people will still be drinking from those going, yeah, I was part of the very first one. And hopefully between that time and now will be, class, you know, 027 and all of that. So,
Yeah.
you got to think that way. You got to think about your legacy. I mean, I don't think that's selfish. I mean, I think it's when you think about it, when it's all about what you are bringing to the table for your
That's
fire
right.
department.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
100%. I mean, that's what it's about, right? Like, our badge numbers in Pearland. My number, it's 0012.
Hmm.
Right. And the only reason it's 12 is because we went in alphabetical order for the first 18 guys. So it's there. Right. And now over the years, it's switched to like 1012, just, because of changing fire chiefs or whatnot. But at the end of the day, like, our badge numbers are 0012. And so I hang my hat on that, right? Like, one day I'm going to look down and there's going to be firefighter 112, or firefighter 212, and I'm going to be able to say, hey, like, here's how it started, and I'm badge number 12, and this is why, right? And same thing with fire school. Like, I was a part of class 2 at Cy-Fair College. Like, I hold that dear, right? And so when I went back and actually taught at that college, I would tell them, like, hey, y'all are class 28. Like, that's cool, but I was class 2. And let me tell you about my times and how things have changed and so on and so forth. So it's very important to celebrate moments like that. Like, I love
Oh
that
yeah.
you did the coffee cups, because we have to have that in our career. You have to have conversation starters. You have to have the moments where the senior men and women, take everybody under the wing and have conversations about New Albany. Like, hey, in year 2023, we had this officer academy, and here's what it was about, and here's who spoke at it, and here's who was in charge of it. And if y'all remember Chief Barnes, he retired a few years ago, but he started it and had help with Christina and, this and that and the other. I mean, so it's about those stories, and it's about that. And going back to what you were saying, like there's some things that you don't want to be remembered for. Like, man, we got to celebrate those too, right? Because
Mhm.
we all have things that we don't want to be remembered for. But if you don't have something that you don't want to be remembered for, then you were never truly into the job, right?
Mhm.
Because a lot of our mistakes or a lot of our situations or things that we don't want to be remembered for, I find are just due out of being so passionate about the job that we say or do something that just isn't right, or we say or defend something that makes you look bad in the light of others. Sometimes it's just out of pure frustration that everybody doesn't love the job as much as you, right?
Oh
and
yeah.
and that and that seems to be the firefighters like biggest mistake mentality wise is chopping down others that don't love the job as much as you. Instead, the mentality should be, they don't love the job as much as me. Let me find out why, and then let
Mhm.
me see what I can do to instill that love into them and make them love the job, right? Just like Pops used to always tell me, I will make you love this job or you will quit. Plain and simple. Like, I will do everything in my power to make you love this job. And at the end of it, if you don't love it, then I promise you, you're going to end up quitting. Right. And that's just how he took his approach with me. So, that's what we're at, is if you can honestly say like, oh, I got 20 years on the job or 30 years on the job, 10 years on the job, and I've never had a moment that I regret, or I've never had a moment that I don't want to be remembered for. Well, then at the end of the day, sorry about that.
That's all right. I got a dog in here. Just
Yeah, I
he's
don't
knocked
even
out or
know.
she's knocked
I don't
out.
even know who's at my door. But at the end of the day, hold on a second, Jake.
Hey, if that's Scott Thompson, tell him to come on and say hi. So, for those listening, not watching the YouTube channel, Chief Johnson has walked up to the door, and I'm just going to keep bragging on him. He is a fantastic person. You guys need to look him up. Not only listen to my podcast, listen to all the podcasts that he's on, because he is an amazing human being. He's one of those guys that if he says it, he'll do it. There's no doubt in my mind. If I told him I needed him, he would say, "Okay, let me look at the flight schedule and I'll get back to you." He's that guy. So I'm not just stroking because he's not even here to
Ugh,
listen. Oh, wait, he's back. So I'm going to shut
I'm
up.
back.
He's going to have to
Uh,
listen to that part on the podcast. So I just had a
yeah.
little chat with the listeners while you were gone.
Well, I'm
Uh,
glad, and I apologize for having to get up, but it was my neighbor across the street. He's elderly, and he always comes when they need help. So Luke's running out to see what's going on.
See,
So
you kind of make my point. I want you to listen back to the podcast what I said about you, because I know how you are. You get, you're a very humble person, so I kind of bragged on you a little bit, but that just
oh
makes my
man,
point even more, even
yeah.
more. What were we
Well,
talking
I
about?
feel bad. His wife is, they're a little bit elderly, and his wife fell a couple weeks ago, and she left her.
Oh,
She told him to leave her on the floor. She was on the floor for 12 hours before he came knock on my door.
12
And
hours?
so, yeah, so I was like, oh my God. I said, what? I said, let me help you. So I called the fire department. My buddy was riding battalion chief here at Katy, where I used to be
Mm-hmm.
back in the beginning of my career. And so I got them to come over and help her. And so now I think he's trying to give Luke a job at his house, cleaning up his yard and doing some other things. So,
Oh, that's nice.
um, yeah. So, anywho,
Now, is Luke going to be a firefighter, you think?
man, I don't know, to be honest with you. I wish, right? Because I'm first generation.
Same here. Now, I know
So,
he's big into football. Is that, or is he looking at that
man,
career? Or
yeah, I mean, he's huge into football and he loves it, absolutely loves it. I, I find it hard. Luke is a very, very special human being. And I don't know what path he's going to choose. He is very talented with theater and acting. He did in fifth grade this last year. He was Mufasa for Lion King,
oh,
and
was
it
he?
was, yeah, and it was actually a Disney produced play that they sell to elementaries, and you have to have like certain props, you have to have certain lines, you can't, like parents can't record or take pictures. Like it's a
Oh,
big
wow.
deal, right? And so, um, he, uh, he was Mufasa in it, and he did an outstanding job, and the whole cast did, right? But like Luke, to me, really took it serious. He was studying every night. Like he did a great job. And then on top of that, he's one hell of a football player. Loves playing football, but he also likes coming to work with me, and he likes cutting holes, and he likes doing truck work. God's work, and so he gets to do that with me every now and then. Come and sit with me on the office at Fridays, and the guys will take him out to the training field and let him chop up and pull lines or cut a hole with an axe or do other things. So, it's kind of hard to figure out where his career is going to go, but, I support him in anything he wants to do. So if he wants to be an actor and wants to go on Broadway, hey, I'll be the first one on the front row, and if you want to play in the NFL, then let's get after it and let's work hard and let's see if we can make it happen. Right. And if you want to be a firefighter, well, then I'm right here every step of the way and teach you everything I know and, set you on your path. And, we have that talk a lot of, you're 11, and I understand that you don't want to think about these things, but in 7 years you're going to be going to college, so we kind of have to have an idea of what you want to be when you grow up,
Mhm.
just so we know how to prepare you as parents, right? And I tell them all the time, there's no wrong answer, man. Like
Mm.
if you want to flip burgers and that's what you're passionate about, then you're going to be really good at it, and I'm going to make sure that you're good at it, and we're going to put in the work to be good at it, right? But if you want to be a doctor or a nurse or a lawyer or an accountant like my dad, Papa, or you want to be a nurse like mom or a firefighter like me, well, hey, here's what it takes to get to that level, right? And
Mhm.
if you really do want to chase the acting thing, then let's find some camps and let's put you in some camps, whatever you want to do. So the door is wide open for that kid, man. He's very special. He's very intelligent. I mean, heart of gold. I can't speak well enough about him. I brag on Luke a lot, but I kind of can't help it. He's my only one. So I'm going to brag as long as he allows me to. So,
Well, here's the thing, though. If he struggles and he wants to be a firefighter and an actor and football, I just feel bad that you don't have anybody in your administration that might have some advice for him for all three things. That is just
uh,
unfortunate to me.
right.
Or or do you have the perfect guy that does exactly all of that?
Yeah, exactly. Huh? So that's just it, right? That's what I told him. I said, look, Chief Taylor, he, I said, he was a football player. He was an actor. He was a firefighter. I said, he was a referee. I said, so if you want to do all of that, I said, we can go have a conversation with him too, right? And he can set you on your path. So he does have a pretty good friend there at his full disposal. Sometimes I believe that Chief loves Luke more than me. Uh, and maybe it's just because I'm always bringing up conversation, but he's the first to ask me, like, how was practice last night, or how was the game, or how's Luke doing, or and that's I was going to take a sip, but now I'm going to start preaching here. But
Oh, let's hear it.
when when those kids come up to admin, man, like that fire chief will stop his day to sit down and have a conversation with a kid, and it doesn't matter whose kid it is. I mean, just 2 weeks ago, one of our employees, James, brought his twin girls up there, and they were touring around. And he said, hey, I want them to meet Chief, but the city manager's in there. I said, it won't matter. Bring them in there. And sure enough, he brought them in there. He stopped this conversation with the city manager, hugged the girls, had a conversation with them, introduced them to the city manager, and then they went on their way. You don't find that very often. And to
No.
be able to have a chief like that takes your family and your kids that serious, man, that's a once in a lifetime chief to me. And I'm just very honored and very blessed that I get to work under him and I get to learn from him, and that I get to have those moments at the coffee table in the morning and in the office in the evenings, and um, that I'm able to see in real time what it takes to be a good fire chief, and he does that, man. And we have a great team, and he's a great leader, and the sky's the limit for us.
It really is. I mean, you and Chief Taylor together, to me, well, it's unfair for the rest because there's other fire departments that need you guys, but you're stuck at one. I mean, you could at least go somewhere else and help, but no, you guys are you're egotistical. You want to work together at the same department, but you guys are fantastic together. You guys work so well together. It's honestly, I was joking, but I mean, it really is kind of almost unfair that you have such great leaders at one department. You brought up the table, so I told the story when I was talking to your chief on my podcast. I like to tell it again just because I love this story. So I go down to Pearland. I'm teaching with NFPA 1403. I look around the corner. I see you sit. You have your white shirt on, and I see you like in a meeting, what I thought was a meeting. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
like, oh shit, I don't want to bug him. So I went back doing my stuff. And later, you come in there. You're like, hey man, why'd you come talk to me? I said, oh, I thought you were in a meeting. And he goes, no. You said no. Every day it's mandated that we sit in the little break room, have coffee. Anybody can come in and talk, and they can talk about anything or
Yep.
nothing. And so this kind of got me excited. And I said, hey man, do you care if I show up the next? And you said, oh please come on in. So went there. I got to have coffee. I got to see the process unfold right in front of me. So for those that I got a picture of it and I'll put it up with the podcast, but it's a small room with a couple of vending machines, a little table, a few chairs, and that's where they sit. They hold court there. Now, what I really like is in that one corner, there's a ton of other chairs stacked up because
Mm-hmm.
you could have that room filled with people or hardly anybody, but every single day during the week, you guys are accessible. You guys are there. That you can be approached. You can be talked to about anything, or everything, or nothing. And
That's
I
right.
got to witness that, and it just blew me away. It blew me away. I told my buddy Chris Hubbard, who I was teaching with. So the next morning, we both showed up to have coffee, and it was just amazing. He said the exact same thing. We fly home from Pearland. Oh, by the way, I didn't get my luggage back until I
Yeah.
got home. By the
Jeez,
way, yeah.
I
Hashtag
forgot about
United
that.
sucks. But he sent me a picture because he went back on shift almost immediately because he was an admin. Now he's a district or battalion. And he
Right.
sent me a picture of him having coffee with his guys the very next day. And
Mm-hmm.
it's just a powerful thing. And if you're listening and you're a fire chief and you're trying to figure out why this is such a big thing to me and other people, just try it. Just try
Yep.
it. Try to be consistent with it. It is one of the neatest. It is the neatest. It is the neatest, most powerful leadership tool I have ever seen. Full stop. And I can't wait. Hopefully, I get to come back to Pearland because I'm definitely going to get there early so I could sit with you all and have coffee.
Absolutely. Anybody can, man. I mean, even if you're not teaching, if you're just driving through town and you're a brother or sister and you want to come have a cup of coffee, come on. I mean, it's there, you know. I mean, we do it every day and and he's never looked at me and said this is mandatory, but yeah, it
Mhm.
is, right? And
Right.
so it's if you're not at the table, they're going to send you a text message like, "Are you all right? Where are you at?" And you don't have to sit there for an hour and a half. If you want to sit there for 20 minutes and you want to leave because you have stuff to do, man, go ahead. But just come sit down and have a cup of coffee and be in the firehouse for a second, right? And I mean, just the other day, it was me, Chief Burt, Chief Taylor, Chief Sears, Chief Bridges, and then our data analyst and the three rookies that are in Proby school right now. And then we had the senior pipeman that was teaching them that day, Sal. He was teaching them
Mhm.
their EMS skills. So he was sitting at the table. Then we had whoever was, I can't remember, I think it was Catherine that was teaching or that was leading their PT that morning. She came and drank coffee. We literally had all ranks of the fire department minus a company officer sitting at the kitchen table drinking coffee with us, and we had great conversation, conversation about the future, conversation about the strategic plan. We just finished up conversation and showing pictures about our kids, all of that, and it took about 20-25 minutes, and then they all dispersed to Proby school, and Catherine went home, and then it was just back to us chief sitting around the table and chopping it up for a little bit. So it's great, man. We have people that come in and out every day. Code enforcement will come and sit with us. The other morning, we had their supervisor, one of their officers, sit down with us for 20 minutes. Fire marshal will come in and out. I mean, we really do have a great time in the morning and having people come in and just say good morning. Sometimes it's just to fill up their water cup and they say good morning, talk for 2 or 3 minutes, and then leave. Right, and that's what it's about, man. Is having that firehouse feel inside of admin and really proving that there are no silos within this building, right? We are an open book. We are your brother. We are your sister. We just happen to be in a position of leadership or in a position of rank that puts us, at close to the top of the tier here. But at the end of the day, we know our foundation was the firehouse, and we always come back to that.
It is, it's powerful. It really is. And another thing that's cool is you'll send me pictures of you in meetings and say, "Look who dropped by today," and I'm like, I can't. The area you are in Houston. Now, Houston's gigantic, but
Hmm.
there is so many industry leaders in your department, obviously, and around you. And you sent me some pictures of people that you're just chopping it up with, and I don't know, I think it was Chief Taylor's office. The last couple pictures, and I'm like, this life you've got, man. I mean, how cool is that? I mean, you got to sit there every now and then and just go, this is amazing. I get the people I have access to that are
Hmm.
friends that have all this knowledge. I mean, how do you not pick their brain constantly? I mean,
That's all I do. And that's why I send you those pictures. One, because um, I'm almost in shock that I get to do this life every day. That I get to
Mhm.
be in this building with these people every day. Every single moment of my career in Pearland Fire Department has been the same. It is just absolutely awesome that I get to show up and work in this fire department and work with these people and get to have an impact on the job that I never thought I'd be able to have. And I only have that impact because of those who have taught me, those who still teach me, those who are around me currently, right? And I don't mean impact as far as me presenting. I'm talking about impact in the lives right there within Pearland Fire Department. And that is what's more important to me than anything that exists outside those walls. And and to have that and to be able to have that amount of experience around me and to be able to ask ideas and to tell, hey, I don't know how to handle this, what's normal, and to get three or four different ways, solid ways of how to handle a situation. It is unbelievable to me that I get to have this type of career, and it is an absolute blessing. And I had a conversation with Code the other day, and they said, "Hey, Chief, we know that you always say, hey, it's going to be a great day. We know you always say like, I love you, but what's the reason?" And I told him, I said, one's about setting the tone, right? So, like we talked earlier, you got to set the tone with it's a great day. But why do I say I love you so much? And I'll tell you why. I said it's because you walk out that door and 5 minutes later you're gone. Like that's just my mindset. I
Mhm.
want you to know every time I see, hey, I love you. Like I truly do. I said, but outside of that, I want you to understand what that means for me. And I said, I'm a young man and I've been on the job for a while and I'm not ready for it to end. But if God stood before me today, I would tell him, take me over you because I want you to have the career I've had over 23 years because it has been awesome. And I don't want anybody to ever be shorted of what I've had. And yes, it comes with bumps, and yes, it comes with bruises, and yes, it comes with curvy roads. But man, it has been so awesome to end up in this moment working with the people that I do now and the people I have over the last 16 years that I want everybody on the job to experience that. And so when I tell you I love you, it's coming deeper than just I got to tell you because it's the brotherhood. It's because I want you to understand that I truly do believe that I will give up my life for you because I want you to have what I've had. I want you to be blessed the way that I've been blessed on this job and in this career, and I want you to be able to experience everything that I have. And when I said that, it really resonated with him, and he came back a couple days later and he was like, I don't think I've ever had anything explained to me like that. And I said, man, it's not to make me sound cool. It's not for me to try to die on the sword for you, right? Like I have a young son and a wife. Like I don't want to die today. I want to have a very good long career, retire and become a grandfather and all this. But what I'm telling you is when you use those words and it's on this job, it better have a meaning like that in order to have the impact that you want it to have. And he was like, well, you impacted me. I said, good. I said, now go out there and earn the career that you want, right? My why is to give people the career that they deserve and desire. And I said, so if you want and you desire a good career, I said, tell me what you want and we'll make it happen because I love you. And I'm here to make sure that you get everything that you desire on this job because the average American lives 77 to 78 years. We only have 30 of that to make an impact on this job. So when you look at it, you have about 20% of your life that you have the opportunity to make an impact. And I want to make sure that you get all 20% filled up as full as it can be before you walk away. So,
I, again, the most genuine, wonderful person I've ever met. It's Mr. Jacob Johnson. I mean, you get me excited about things. And I've had private conversations with you. I can get down at work, but it's that kind of stuff right there that lets me know I'm not alone. It always gets better, and then I have a responsibility to share that message too. I mean,
Hmm.
you're a fantastic human being, which would explain why you get asked to go to so many places to speak. And I mean, you got and your articles too. You just published one in Firehouse earlier in the summer
Yeah, in
in May.
March. Hmm.
Yeah, and it was the company officer one, right? Tell
Yep.
us a little bit about that one because I loved it. I'm going to post it when they're listening to this. They're going to be able to scroll down the description and get the link and
Oh,
read it
okay,
because it's
cool.
amazing.
Yeah, so I mean, it's about how to be a good company officer, but how does it start, right? And what does it take to be a good company officer? And it's, to me, it was really going into depth about how big of a change it is and what it takes to go through that change, right? And it really was inspired by me transitioning from operations to admin. It was the most difficult transition that I've ever made in my career, and I still don't think I'm done, right? Like I just got a reminder on my wife's birthday on the 11th. That was the day that they announced me being appointed to assistant chief. So here in about 9 days will be my 1 year anniversary. And I don't think I've fully transitioned yet, right? Like I still find myself in some aspects thinking at kind of like a BC level, and by no disrespect to that, it's not, dumbing myself down. It's I want to handle a problem like a BC should handle it versus the way an AC should, right?
Hmm.
And so it's that mindset, that transition that I'm still making, right? Like it's going to take just a little bit to just get into the role, right? And so I write it because I want people to understand, man, like when you get that company officer, you are the golden ticket to the job. I'm sorry. Like the fire department lives and dies on your shoulders. If you have a very weak fire department, I promise you it's because you have very weak company officers.
Hmm.
If you have a very good fire department, it's because you have very good company officers. You have strong company officers that believe in accountability and treat people right, and understand that if you want to raise morale, you have to treat people right. It's not about all the cool, flashy things, right? It's about the way you treat people. And we have to understand that when you get that call and they promote you, everything in an instant is different. And that's what I depict in that article, right? Is when you wake up and brush your teeth, it's different. When you look at yourself in the mirror and you see, I'm no longer driver, operator, engineer, I'm, Lieutenant Johnson, it's different. When you kiss your family goodbye in the morning, it's different. When you swipe, that card going through the gate to park, everything goes silent because that's the first moment. Like it's here, and I'm sure if you're like me, you were up staring at the ceiling, 2 hours before your alarm went off because one of excitement, two of anxiety, and two of a little bit of fear and butterflies, right?
Hmm.
And how do we get through that? And that's what this article was how to push through it, but also how to give yourself those moments that you need on your first day. It's no different than a probie. You need that moment to say, man, I'm a lieutenant, I'm a company officer, I'm a captain, I'm this, right? You need to have those moments, and you need to walk in the firehouse when that rookie looks at you and says, morning, Cap, or morning, Lieutenant, or morning, Lou. You just look right back at them and say, good morning, how are you? It's going to be a great day, and move on, right?
Hmm.
And, have that passed down. And it's important for that chief to grab that company officer, in my opinion, and walk them to the pumper. Like I know a lot of people disagree with that, but man, like I did that and I think it was impactful is walk them to the pumper and say, this is your seat. And with the seat comes great responsibility. And here is the responsibility that it comes with, right? And today is your day. This is your first day as a company officer. Enjoy it. Ride that seat with pride. Ride it with confidence. Ride it with consistency. Ride it with competence. And go out the door and be the firefighter that I know you are and that I've seen. Okay, I got it. All right. So here's your moment, son. Here's your moment, ma'am. You are a company officer. Congratulations. Now get to work and walk away. Right? It's those little moments, man. Just finding those little moments to make those impacts. And that's kind of what the article was, is just here's how you're going to feel on your first day. Here's what should be happening on your first day. And then, follow me. Basically at the end is, here's your front seat. Have a good time. Here's all the stuff, and then follow me, right? And I'm hoping that we can do a part two to it. I'm kind of working on a couple different things right now, but that one was probably my I wouldn't say hardest to write, but it was definitely the most um, in depth that I wanted to write, because I really wanted to hit home on what the internal feeling is, right, of getting that promotion, because everybody on the outside sees a happy, eager, or maybe a happy, nervous person, or they may think, oh, he or she's just big headed, but they don't fully understand what's going on internally. And I wanted the world to understand, like, what I described internally may only happen to 10% of the people on the job, may only
Mhm.
happen to Jacob Johnson. I don't know, but I know it happened to me with each promotion. So when I made lieutenant, when I made chief, when I made assistant chief, every day that I woke up that first day, I had a different feeling, and I was up staring at the ceiling, and I had all these internal feelings. And I feel it's important to put that out there, so that way the firefighters and the driver operators, they know how they can support their officer to be successful as much as the officer supports them to be successful. So if you can try to understand what's going on internally, then you
Mhm.
can support your officer and really go in the right direction and have a successful crew.
It's just nice to know that the feelings that you're having are the same feelings that everybody else kind of has. So if you're reading that article, you're going, wow, I had that exact feeling. I thought I was
Hmm.
all by myself. So, with the newer generations of officers being made, I highly recommend reading the article. But that's a great message for them. Like, you're not alone. You might be feeling this, and this. That's fine. I do love the idea of walking somebody. That seems like such a neat ceremony to, you know, I say ceremony. It's such a neat tradition to do, to walk them and then explain like how important that seat is. And
Right.
man, that's awesome. I wish that would happen at my place. Maybe that's something my chief will start implementing. I don't know, but
Yeah.
it's a great thing.
Yeah. And it's something that you can implement, right? I mean, anybody can implement it, I think, is it's just finding, man, it's the one thing that I preach on the most is just finding the most minute moments to make an impact, man. Like grab the opportunity and make an impact. And it takes 5 seconds of your time. It's not any, like you're saying, it's not a ceremony. It's not any real big thing. It's just grabbing and say, hey, let's walk to the front seat. Here's this. Here's what it's about. Here's your responsibility. And just giving them that second to take in a breath. Yes, I am a company officer, but now I got to buckle down and get to work. It's no different than taking that rookie to the bumper and flying the doors and taking their picture on the bumper and explaining the bumper to them in the history and all the jackets and coats and bunker pants that it's held, all the shoulders that have been leaned on, the historical references to the front bumper. What does it mean to a crew to sit on the front bumper? And explaining to them how they earn the right to sit on the bumper, right? And kind of the stuff that I present on about that. So it's no different than that. And you should walk a driver to the wheel and say, this is the wheel that you're going to turn, and here's the responsibility with it. And I really believe in those small moments, man, that take 5 seconds of your life to just make a small impact in someone. But most importantly, flip their mindset and
Mhm.
engage their mindset of, okay, this is real. Like, I'm a company officer. My responsibility is this. These lives are on my shoulders. This fire department is on my shoulders. Success of this crew is on me. Here's what we need to do. Mindset engaged, and go kick butt. I mean, it's to me, it really sets that up, other than just being some grumpy chief that says, oh, glad to have you on the shift, have a good day. Man, just take 5 seconds of your life to make an impact. It's pretty simple.
Well, yeah, and I'm not surprised that you do that. Again, I'm not going to rehash something that was in the other podcast, but one of the things that you did that is next level is how you wrote handwritten notes to the family of the people on your crew.
Hmm.
And I just wanted you to know, and I've told you this before, but I'm going to say it again. After the leadership class, when we talked about that, I have a captain that did the exact same thing. He wrote handwritten letters to the families of his crew. And so that made a gigantic impact on him. So now you think about it, imagine his crew now, when they go up in rank and they have some time in the fire service, they'll probably do that. Hopefully they'll
Yep.
do that. I
Hopefully.
mean, it's genuine concern, and I tell you what I'm learning late in the game. I am learning this late in the game, the importance of including family in what we do.
Hmm.
We always say that the fire service is a family, and we are. And then we always say, we understand that you have a family at home. But for me right now, because of Christina and because of some people that I work with have brought things up, I'm like, you know what? We need to include the family in more events and more things, and somehow, and I'm trying to find ways to, for my department to get family involved in the firehouse,
Yep.
to really prove that it is a family.
Yep.
So I hate
And
that I'm learning that late in my life, but
well, but I don't think it was anything that was ever preached. Even when I was a probie, right? Was is we have to have respect for the firefighters' family, right?
mm,
We have to have respect and honor their sacrifice, right?
mm,
You've been on the job 30 years and look how much you travel now and teach and you do the podcast and you do a lot. You're a very involved, officer on the job. Well, how much has your family sacrificed in order for you to do all that, right?
yeah,
And their sacrifice has to be respected and it has to be validated and it has to be honored. And what better way to do that than just a small note, right? My family has sacrificed a ton, right? How many times do you get a phone call from your wife, the smoke detector's going off, or she burned dinner, or Luke has to get to football practice and then to school, and then he has a test and we have to do homework, and you're sitting at the firehouse drinking coffee at a kitchen table laughing and having a good time.
yeah,
And yeah, you're going to be up all night, but you know what? At the end of the day, you're not doing what your spouse is doing at home.
right.
And they have to be respected and they have to be honored and validated. And so, I think that's where it goes a long ways. And I have a great example of that in Pearland with Captain Ryan, one of my uh, longtime friends. We came in together in Pearland. We started together. We were lieutenants together on the same shift. Then I was his BC on the same shift, and he was my captain, my right hand man. He was my right up BC when I was off. I mean, and even today, I deal with him a lot directly when it comes to the Swiftwater team and other projects that he's in charge of. And Rusty's just one of those special people, man, that very few firefighters ever get to experience. And one of the top company officers we have in the fire department. And, what he does is every time we work 4896, so every time that they work a Saturday, Sunday,
Hmm.
he has instituted, man, probably 8, 9 years now. On that Sunday is family day, and everybody's family comes to the firehouse. They cook dinner, they have games for the kids, they take pictures, they hang around the coffee table themselves, all the wives and husbands, and everybody brings like a potluck, and then the station, the firehouse will cook like the protein, and then they sit down as a family. Sometimes they have 20 people in the firehouse with kids running everywhere, and they sit down. They have a family day on Sundays. In the fire department, the peer support team, they host a Pearland Family Day every November, and they bring out catered food, fun jumps for the kids, a coffee food truck. They have pictures, games. They have all kinds of stuff going on. And this last November, I want to say it was right at 80 something people that showed up total throughout
Wow.
the day. And so we do things like that. Our families and kids are invited to our awards banquet. That's something that most fire departments don't do. But
Mm,
all the kids and all the wives and husbands are allowed to come to the awards banquet and see their dad or their mom recognized and eat dinner and have a formal night out with professional pictures and do things. So we do a lot of that. And that wasn't the way it was when I was a probie. And I think, I don't think you're late to it. And I don't think that you're learning it late in the game. I think it's just this is the time that the job is transitioning, right? Mike
mm.
Galliano talks about all the time. It's a pendulum, right, on the job. And I think we're just on this upward swing right now where we're starting to realize and respect and honor and validate the sacrifices of our families and how important it is to get them involved in the job. So that way they understand everything we go through.
Absolutely. And I tell you another thing, my deputy chief, who was in that, he was part of that class I keep bringing up to level two. He brought up an idea in a staff meeting that I thought was really incredible. So, another thing, speaking of things that are being more and more recognized in the fire service, is the mental health that a lot of us struggle with because of our job. So he brought up a fantastic idea about having some type of a night for the wives or the spouses to come and have dinner for them and everything, but have like a speaker there to let them know about the type of job that their spouse has, and if you see these signs, don't think it's this, maybe it's this. Give them resources, and I thought that was a really brilliant idea.
Yeah.
So hopefully that'll happen in the future. And again, maybe you're right. Maybe this is just a big transition in the fire service right now, where we truly are doing something. There's an animal in here I didn't know was in here. Oh wow. Um, um, that it's only going to make the fire service better. Now, I love the fire service. You know that. I love everything about it. But to what we said earlier, there is no finish line. There is no 100%. There's only trying. There's only effort. And the
That's right.
day that you stop, regardless if it's a program for the families or your own officer development, then you might be doing it wrong. The job owes us nothing. We owe the job everything.
Everything.
So we have to give it all. We have to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Completely agree with you, Jake.
Well, brother, we always agree, right? We get
Yeah. I
along
mean, I
like
think we do
peas
on
and
most
carrots.
things. Yeah.
Peas
I
and
mean, except
carrots.
engine and truck work, but
Look, I love truckies. They're the gentlemen of the fire service. They open the doors for firefighters to
hey,
put out the fire.
yeah, but we're also the ones that hold your hand to daycare and let you put the fire out, So, hey,
are we,
follow
are we
me,
going to do
buddy.
this?
Follow me.
Oh,
Oh,
my
man.
goodness. Well, brother, I got a heart out. I apologize, but it's a good thing because my youngest is moving up to school next week at University of
Oh, good.
Cincinnati. So the whole
Okay.
family is getting together about an hour. Most of our family lives a couple hours away, so we're going
Uh-huh.
to meet in the middle and have a great big family early dinner. Because my niece, Caden, is going to University of Louisville, which is luckily right next to us, so we get to see her more. And my daughter, London, is going to University of Cincinnati, which is only about an hour and a half away.
Yeah, that's not
Uh,
bad.
yeah, so we're all gonna go down there to Frankfurt and celebrate. So that's the only reason, or we'd still be talking, brother. You know that.
Hey, I
And
know it. Hey, and let me tell you, so that's interesting because one of my mentors in the fire service, his son, uh, Brian Hack, goes to Cincinnati, University of Cincinnati. So,
really,
yes, so tell London to look him up. I'll text you his name.
please,
And then that
please,
way, if she ever needs anything, then she can go to a firefighter's son for help.
brother. I just told her. I said, look, if you cannot get a hold of us and you're lost, flat tire, doesn't matter what the problem is. I said, just find a firehouse. I said,
Yep.
2 in the morning, 2 in the afternoon, it doesn't matter. Tell them that you're a daughter of a firefighter. I said, I promise you will be taken
Yep.
care of better than you could imagine. So I'm
100%.
going to definitely pass that on because that fits perfectly.
Yeah, man. He's up there. He's a sophomore and he's into the music thing.
Mhm.
So I think he wants to be like a music teacher or something. So he did band. And I don't know, I can't remember exactly if he's on the band there or not, but
Mhm.
he just drove back last weekend. He just drove back to Cincinnati. And I've known Jerry, his dad, for 25 years or so. My parents are his kids' godparents. I mean, so it's a real tight family friend. And his dad was a fire chief for a lot of years. He's like second or third generation fireman. So
Wow.
yeah,
Wow.
so right there, an hour and a half from you.
Man. Brother, thank you for your time. You're a wonderful friend. You're a wonderful person. I love you to death, and I can't wait to talk to you again. I'm sure we'll be texting. Hopefully, I'll have some cool pictures to text you, but you keep those cool pictures. Keep coming to me, man, because I love it. I love seeing the people you're talking to, and that is your life. That is so awesome. And I know September you're going to be up at Firehouse Expo,
Yep.
and you're going to be teaching. Don't tell me just yet. Uh, I forget the exact name, but regret. I know what it's about.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. Let me look it up real quick. Founded on failure and fueled by regret, September 27th at
Hmm.
Firehouse Expo. I'm going to put a link to that, link to some of your articles. Um, Google Jacob Johnson podcast, YouTube, whatever. There's so much more to him. I promise you, if you're down, you'll get up. If you're up, you'll get higher. You're the best, brother. I love you to
I
death.
really appreciate it, Jake. I love you too, my man. And I wish you were coming to FRI because I'll be there in 2 days. So I'll be at FRI all week and I present on Friday and then football again on Saturday. So I'm looking
I've
forward
got.
to it. And
I'll try harder to be there next year.
hey, man, it's all good, bro. I just wish I could see your face, So
Yeah.
but hey,
Look.
I
Yeah.
love you to death, man. I appreciate everything you do for me because there's days that you text me that, man, it's nice to hear from a good friend. So I do appreciate that and the phone calls. And even when you're in Arizona and I was texting you, I guess it was 4 a.m. your time, even though I'm used to you being an hour ahead of me. So,
Yeah.
but man, I do appreciate all you do. And I do really appreciate you putting Chief Taylor on the podcast because he's somebody special that needs to be heard more often as well. So I
Could
appreciate all
imagine.
you've done for us, man.
Thank you so much, brother. Thank you. That really means a lot to me. Now tell Chief Taylor tomorrow that you and I talked football the whole entire time. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Now is that
Yeah.
the one with the racket or the horn? You know what? Never mind. He'll figure it out. I love you,
Watch
buddy. I'll
out, that
talk to you
trombone,
later.
that trombone slide will keep coming. Watch out.
Yeah. You know much people have heard that and come up to me at work and talked about the trombone slider. I'm
I'm
like,
telling you, and you need to make it a sticker.
yeah, yeah. Oh yeah,
Yep.
yeah, I do, don't I? I'll
Yep.
make it a
Trombone
shirt.
slide around your neck.
Have a good one, brother.
All right, brother. You too.
See ya.
See ya.